guys. Good morning, Carly and Todd. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s nomination comes as no surprise. There were reports during the campaign that Kennedy could play a role in Trump's administration if he endorsed the former president, who is, of course, now the president-elect.
If you like people that live a long time, it's the most important position. RFK Jr., Bobby. I just looked at the news reports. People like you, Bobby. Don't get too popular, Bobby. We want you to come up with things and ideas and what you've been talking about for a long time, and I think you're going to do some unbelievable things.
Kennedy's priorities include overhauling food production to ban pesticides and genetically modified organisms, cracking down on food chemicals, and re-examining vaccine approvals. Some public health officials have raised alarm about his views on vaccination, which are likely to be scrutinized during the confirmation process. President-elect Trump also picked former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins as Secretary of Veterans Affairs, his defense lawyer Todd Blanche as Deputy Attorney General, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum as Interior Secretary.
I won't tell you the name of his, the exact name. I think he's an incredible person. Might be something like Burgum. He's from North Dakota. He's going to be announced tomorrow for a very big position. He's going to head the Department of Interior, and he's going to be fantastic.
With a possibility that some of Trump's choices, like Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, might face roadblocks in the Senate, incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune said this.
I think we have to have all the options on the table, and these nominees deserve their day in court. We are not going to allow the Democrats to thwart the will of the American people in giving President Trump the people that he wants in those positions to implement his agenda.
Trump has called for recess appointments to bypass Senate approval for his nominees.
Right. I am carrying extra weight.
Anyone who brings candy into this camp is not your friend.
No dinner, no lunch, no breakfast.
Looks like my man's packing.
Who would like to own up to this treasure trove?
My grandma runs faster than you, and she's only got one leg.
Oh, look! A deli meat.
I eat success for breakfast. With skim milk. You disgust me.
Well, congratulations. You just joined the 76% of Americans who forget to stretch before physical activity.
It's a bad day to be seed oils, baby. RFK in the house, along with some of our friends from the show. Doug Burgum, Doug Collins, the Dougs are rolling through with Robert F. Kennedy officially joining the administration yesterday in what you hear petering off into the distance is the demonic rage screams out of Washington, D.C. as you get a pick that's, I don't know, more salty than even Matt Gaetz. Oh, man, we got a wonderful show for you today. It is Free for All Friday. We are excited about it. Today is Friday, November 15th, 2024. Trump shocks world with RFK selection for Health and Human Services. Was it really that big of a shock? I mean, it is to the system. Listen, we judge these things based on how many people are rending their garments and seething like vampires that have been hit with holy water. And it is delicious. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got your salt shakers ready. We have some meltdowns. We have a meltdown compilation for you to top all meltdown compilations. Rocky makes surprise appearance with Donald Trump, endorsing President Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and of course, cracking open the Hollywood pain circle right now, because it is a devastating moment to be in Hollywood. Everyone is fleeing. Everyone's got, it's just all the old is out. The old is out, in with the new. This great, glorious nation deserves better, and they're going to get it. Alina Habba joins the program along with Chairman Jim Jordan. We'll see what happens with Jim Jordan. Is he going to be running for Senate? I don't want him out of the House, but because there's an open Senate seat from Ohio. Can't think of anybody better to shake up the Senate other than Laura Trump, who we can announce will be on our program on Monday. So that's going to be exciting. You'll get a chance to talk with Laura live here about becoming the next senator from the state of Florida, which I think is a lock, baby. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. Speaking of a lock, we have a lock on our cell phone. I have a lock on my phone because my kids grab hold of my phone. My wife my wife told me this morning that one of my daughters was ready to live stream. That my 2-year-old named Juliet had punched enough buttons on my computer that she had like a screen open, and she was potentially ready to go live. So be prepared. All right, you may get a 2-year-old streaming live here, and that would actually probably make more sense than a Cardi B speech for Kamala Harris, than a Kamala Harris speech, than a Joe Biden speech. You'd probably get actually more intelligence from that and better medical advice from my 2-year-old than you would from Dr. Fauci, who's cowering in fear because, well, as Elon Musk has regularly said, Dr. Fauci deserves to be prosecuted, and I think it's going to happen. Anyway, the point is that our cell phones and these devices are incredibly important. We travel with them. We bring them everywhere that we go. It's something that is essential to life. Make sure that you're supporting companies that support you. Patriot Mobile is who we support, who we use for our cell phone provider. They'll be with us all day today as we travel to Mar-a-Lago. Stay tuned for some very exciting updates from the show. I am brimming with excitement. Just brimming, ladies and gentlemen. PatriotMobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT. PatriotMobile.com/Benny. Get a free month today when you use the offer code Benny, PatriotMobile.com/Benny. We are headed to Mar-a-Lago. After the show, we have some special meetings with some special friends. And yeah, tell you what, man, they're putting together the Justice League. They are putting together the actual Justice League. What is the scariest thing to ever happen for a deep state lib? What would be the single scariest thing that you could possibly see if you are somebody who lives and exists inside of the deep state? Well, it's someone who straight up controls the federal government right now. A man named Elon Musk, the single most powerful American civilian to ever live, saying the hammer of justice is coming. This is what Elon posted nigh on 24 hours ago, and damn it, was he right? Holy smokes! Look at this awesome image that is my straight up favorite meme, and it's come true, like many memes that we've promoted on the program, many memes that we've shared. The memes end up telling the future. What is the quote? ALX, he who controls the memes controls the future. Is that the Elon Musk quote? Yeah, baby. Here it is. You have the Justice League. You have Trump, Vivek, Tulsi. This thing was dead on. You have a Giga Chad, JD Vance there as Batman. RFK, he's in the administration now. Ron Paul says he's going to help out with Doge. Elon Musk. Tucker Carlson's the only person who's not currently in the administration. Press secretary? Come on, baby. We'll ask Alina Habba. She'll be on the program. We'll ask Alina Habba about being press secretary. Alina Habba said that she won't be press secretary this week, which made us so sad. But you know what? Things can change. Maybe we'll be able to convince her live. All right, we'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, RFK got the handshake, the golden handshake from President Trump as the new Secretary of Health and Human Services. All of D.C. went like this. See ya. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Your canola oil is gonna go bye-bye. Along with all the poisons in our food, all the poisons that we feed our children, it was an absolute sickness that has destroyed the country. The way that our health services have managed this nation. This is such a massively important topic. But let's just break it down very, very simply and quickly here. There's poisons in our food. There are toxic chemicals, sludge that gets put in our food for absolutely no reason. Doesn't make it taste any better. It just makes our food neon colored. For some reason, it's allowed that kind of toxic sludge that gets put into our food, especially the food that our children eat, that goes to create chronic disease, a chronic disease burden that no other country on earth has, childhood obesity epidemics that nobody else on earth has, and cancers and comorbidities that are breaking the country. You look at what we spend on healthcare in this country, it's going to bankrupt this country. It already has, actually. And the big money hug that Big Pharma gives to Democrats who've been perpetually in charge of these things, as they have regularly said they care about your children and they care about health and health care. No, they don't. They care about getting paid off because Big Pharma makes a ton of money, an ass load of money off of treating sick Americans. So we'll make sure that everybody in America is sick as hell, and then Big Pharma gets paid off. And then who regulates pharma? Dr. Fauci. And Dr. Fauci lets them do anything they want. So the system just replicates and replete with criminals, and it ends today. Look at what's happened to the big pharma stocks with RFK's announcement. Big pharma stocks down bad. That is a good thing for America. Ladies and gentlemen, many FDA employees are saying that they're going to quit, much like at the DOJ with Matt Gaetz. And we have some very interesting updates on Matt Gaetz. But much like the DOJ employees and the federal lawyers inside of the rigged federal court system, let's take a step back. Like, you just gotta like ask this: Who flees a dangerous situation, right? Like, okay, so let's say that my children were in danger. Would I flee and just leave them there? No, of course not. I care about them. I'm a righteous father. I want to protect my children, so I'll stay. If you pull over a criminal and he has a dead body in the trunk of his car, the criminal flees. It's only people that are criminals at the scene of a crime who are about to be found out that flee. Like, for instance, if Kamala Harris had won the election, she didn't even come close. She lost the popular vote by 5 million. She lost all 7 swing states. Donald Trump beat her in a landslide in the Electoral College, won the House and the Senate. But let's say Kamala had won in an alternate universe. Well, would I have fled America? No. Actually, I would have dug my heels as deep into this black dirt as I possibly could get them, and I would have fought for every square inch for my family. We would have redoubled our efforts. We had conversations at this company about that. We're not going to flee the country. You don't do that. It's my country, actually. Like, I was born here. My ancestors were born here. I'm a Native American. I live here. I'm from here. This is my home. I have no other home, actually. These people have no right to destroy it. So when you feel righteous about something and you feel like you're, well, either you're a victim of something horrible that had happened, or you feel the obligation to fight for it, you don't flee. If you're proud of your work, if you want to protect your family, you stay, you fight. What does it say when libs scream from the rafters that they want to leave the country? We have so many of them. I don't know. Producers, can we find a list of all the libs that said they were going to leave the country? Some of them have. Some of them have. To their great credit, some of them have, which is awesome. I think there's like 1 or 2 that actually did legitimately flee the country. Can I get an update on like libs fleeing the country? But ladies and gentlemen, what it says about you when a criminal flees a crime scene is that you've done something horribly wrong. It's not the actions of an innocent person to be profusely sweating when a cop pulls you over for running a traffic light, shaking, and then when the cop goes back to grab his paperwork, sprint out of the car and run as fast as you can away from, like, dude, you got a dead body in the trunk. And I think there's a lot of dead bodies in our federal government. I mean, literal dead bodies when you're talking about HHS. But these are the FDA employees saying that they are ready to quit in mass. The DOJ employees are ready to quit in mass. Jack Smith's team, they're fleeing. They're leaving the country. Hunter Biden says he has to leave the country now. What does that mean exactly? One of the View hosts yesterday, her name's Ana Navarro. Can we grab this tweet? Ana Navarro was up yesterday, and she said, quick, Biden, you got to pardon everyone. It's incredible. They're criminals. They're criminals fleeing a crime scene. Ana Navarro, this is like a lady who ran Jeb Bush's campaign. This is her claim to fame. She ran Jeb Bush's campaign, and then she goes on these Trump-hating tirades on The View and on CNN. Why anybody listens to this absolute balloon animal, I don't know. She's a total orc. But listen, she yesterday gave up the game. She said, Biden, you have to pardon everyone, please. Pardon your son, pardon Kamala, pardon all of us. It was an amazing, amazing moment. There it is. Let's pop it up. Look at this. Please pardon Hunter. And while you're at it, give preemptive pardons to Liz Cheney, Kamala Harris, Adam Kinzinger, Jack Smith, and anybody who may be on the enemies list. Oh, wow. What a way to behave if you're a criminal. Isn't it amazing? It really is amazing. You watching animals eat. You learn so much watching them. They are fleeing a crime scene, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a mass exodus at DOJ. Matt Gaetz is getting in. We ran the numbers. Matt Gaetz is getting in. John Thune was on TV saying effectively that Matt Gaetz is getting in and that they're going to do recess appointments. And what that means is that when the Senate goes on recess, Trump can just straight up appoint Matt Gaetz for 2 years. Okay? So, like it or lump it, you're getting Matt Gaetz. And Matt Gaetz, and our eagle eyes caught something yesterday that we thought was pretty tasty. Thought this was pretty interesting. This post looks like AI. I just want to talk through this, and I want to talk through why feds may be fleeing D.C. right now. This is Matt Gaetz' wife, Ginger Gaetz. This is awesome. Ginger Gaetz we've hung out before. It's great. She's a great person. It's nice for a nice person, right? She posted this photo yesterday. Now, this is the first post since her husband was announced as the future Attorney General of America. You may say, oh, this is AI. It looks like Neo from the Matrix or something like that. Now, let's take a closer inspection as to what they may be telling us. What is the Gaetz family telling us about the future Attorney General? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Matt Gaetz. This is a real photo. This is a practical photo inside of a very practical place. This is the largest terrorism prison center in the world. It's in a place called El Salvador, a place that Matt Gaetz is, very close to. He's very close with the president of El Salvador, a man named Nayib Bukele, who has saved his nation by arresting criminals en masse and incarcerating them inside of this place. What is this place? This is, and a reminder, this is what the Gaetz family decided to tell Washington, D.C. for their first public statement about what's about to happen. Okay? El Salvador's terrorist confinement center is a prison for the gang members of the worst prisoners, considered to be the worst of the worst. It's at 40,000 prisoner capacity, making it one of the world's largest prisons. The prison has a cavernous interior with high ceilings and polished floors, large built-in cages. The men housed there are called the worst of the worst. How they reform these men is they reduce the prisoners' rations by giving them only 2 meals a day of beans and tortillas, denying them mattresses, and ordering that gang members be confined 24/7. This is not a pretty place. This is how CNN covered it. This is some CNN footage here from an article. This is what you'll find inside. If some of these guys look familiar, well, this is what the famous MS-13 gang members. Remember MS-13 from President Trump's first term? Locking eyes with the murderers in El Salvador. CNN went and toured this prison and explained that like 10% of the entire nation of El Salvador used to be in criminal gangs. The president decided to lock those criminal gang members up. And then guess what happened? As soon as he locked up the prisoners and sent the military in after the criminal element, El Salvador became one of the single safest countries on earth. El Salvador became safer than America, actually. This is a homicide rate. This is El Salvador. They had quite a peak to fall from. El Salvador, of course, had lots of homicides. This is the year 2016. In less than 10 years, El Salvador is now safer than America for locking up their prisoners. Bukele taking a hard line on crime, turning El Salvador around. He's reduced the homicides rate by thousands of percentile. Less people getting murdered is a good thing. This is the murder rate. El El Salvador is now considered one of the single safest country in all of Latin America. These are, of course, the countries. These are, of course, the countries where the Biden administration is shipping in untold millions of criminal aliens. And then down here is El Salvador. Look at that. Wow. It's almost like Matt Gaetz and it is sending a message that this is what they are about to do in the United States of America. Lock up criminals. And CNN picked up on that message. Matt Gaetz would oversee U.S. prisons as Attorney General. He thinks El Salvador's hardline lockups are the model. Maybe this is why feds are getting out of the jurisdiction of Matt Gaetz. You can run it, but you can't hide. Also, something remarkable that happened. Well, and this video is in Spanish, so we won't play it. If we load up the video of Bukele, though, talking to Tucker about what needs to happen in America. Bukele was the first world leader to congratulate Matt Gaetz. They're very close. Matt Gaetz is in charge of the El Salvador committee, like in Congress. You know, you have these committees that have these relationships with other foreign nations. Matt Gaetz is the chairman of it. He's passed that off to Anna Paulina Luna, actually. Anyway, what's the point? This is what really gets them. This video. So locking up the gang members, I think that the deep staters might even be down with that, right? Nobody wants to live in gang-infested hellscape. This is what terrifies them the most. We did our research. This is the president of El Salvador. He called his entire government cabinet together into a meeting, sat them all down, and announced that every single person there is under investigation. He filmed it so that you could see them all live reacting. He announces that every official in the executive branch is under investigation from the Attorney General for corruption and bribery. And said, this is how I'm going to publicly prove to the country that their government works for them. You're all under investigation. We have a special counsel into all of you. So you better have a clean as a whistle past. Could you imagine if they did this to Dr. Fauci? Could you imagine if they did this in Washington, D.C.? Could you imagine if Donald Trump, the first thing he does is bring in the career bureaucrats, not the people that he's appointing. The people that he's appointing is considered politicals, right? They're political appointments that come from the executive that are there for 4 years or less, and they have to be approved by the Senate, right? Confirmed by the Senate. No, bring in the careers. Bring in the people who've been there, rent a stadium, bring in all the career bureaucrats, sit them all down, and the first thing Trump does, or maybe the first thing Matt Gaetz does, since Matt Gaetz is like best friends with this guy, who's awesome, and you should follow him. The first thing that Matt Gaetz does is say, you're all under investigation, every single last one of you. We're launching the largest investigation ever, and guess what? We have a massive prison system for everybody who has broken the law. This is Matt Gaetz' wife. This is the headline news that they made. Matt Gaetz' wife's cryptic photo hints at his attorney general's plans. Locking up corrupt bureaucrats. With the gang members. How about that? Let's do it all together. Do it all together. You won't believe what... El Salvador opens 40,000 inmate prison in war against gangs. You won't believe what happened next. When you root out corruption and evil. And, you know, if you look at this demographically, there's only a small subsection of the any country. You could lock up, you get rid of all murders in America. You could reduce the murder rate in America down to near zero by just strategically locking up the portion of the population that commits the murders, right? You go and you take the people who are on the pathway either to murdering, so you composite the crimes, right? Or who have committed murders before. That's pretty much anybody who's going to commit a murder in the future. You could reduce the murder rate to zero. You can do that for all crimes. This is what being tough on crime looks like. And this is how El Salvador gained on this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the president of El Salvador speaking with Tucker Carlson about what needs to happen in America. Now, a reminder that this homie is a huge supporter of Donald Trump and Matt Gaetz has been down in El Salvador. There are there's photos of Gaetz in El Salvador. He's been there like a bunch. He's been down in El Salvador, apparently learning from this guy's playbook. Okay? We know this because we talked with Matt Gaetz about it, like after his interview with us a couple weeks ago. He's been saying, this is what's, get ready, America. We're going to start putting criminals in prison and making them prisoners for a very long time. And you're going to thank us for it. Here's the president of El Salvador speaking with Tucker Carlson about what needs to happen next in America. Get ready.
Well, you need leadership. But I'll tell you something. If you see the mess that we were living here,
yes,
it's a bigger mess than what you have over there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just the fact that a third of our population fled the country and went to the United States.
I know.
Gives you an example that the mess we were living here and that we still have in other areas that, not safety, we're the safest country in the Western Hemisphere, but we have problems in other areas, like the economy, for example.
Yeah.
But our problems were bigger than your problems in relative sizes.
So you said
if you can fix a mess like this in the U.S. with a limited amount of wealth, with scientists, innovation like no other country in the world. Still, the innovation is coming from the U.S. It's more than any other country. Still, right? Even not because of the government, but it has the best innovators, AI.
For sure.
I mean, anything. So you still have the best innovators. You still have the biggest companies. You still have the world reserve currency, the biggest wealth, the biggest GDP. The availability to hire talent from anywhere. You can bring whatever talent you need to fix any gaps. You can pick any. You get it. You get what you want. You still can get what you want. You can't get attacked because you're
too far away.
You're too far away from anyone that wants to attack you, because Mexico or Canada are not going to attack the U.S. So your enemies are too far away, and you still have the biggest army, the biggest armed forces.
You have the biggest army. You have the most money. You have the smartest people. You should be able to fix your problems like we did. You should be able to, through correct policies and personnel, fix your nation, says the president of El Salvador, who 10% of his nation was in a criminal satanic gang called MS-13. We think America's been through a tough ride, but we know that 10% of the country, 10% of our country is not in a satanic criminal beheading gang. Okay, praise God, thank God. But 8% of our country is, and those people should be made to pay. And the people who allowed them into our country and to roam our streets and defunded our police, they should be made to pay. And Dr. Fauci, ladies and gentlemen, should be made to pay for what he's done, crimes against humanity. So we're getting there. All right, we're getting there. Just a little spice off the top to tell you that I think that this administration means business. All right, we mean business. We must have Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. This is going to be our number one fight on this show. We must have Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Now, here's a list of Republican traitors who voted for Merrick Garland. There are 30 Republicans in the Senate who voted for Merrick Garland. Some of them have voiced opposition to Matt Gaetz. Well, that's a very interesting. How can you possibly defend yourself? How could you defend yourself against a primary saying that you voted for Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, Alejandro Mayorkas in the Senate, but you wouldn't vote for Donald Trump? Presumably you're going to have to go back to your red state. Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell are on this list. And you're going to have to explain that. Collins is on this list in Maine. You're going to have to go back to your red states and explain why you wouldn't vote for Donald Trump's Attorney General who's going to lock up all the prisoners. Bukele style. And what we hear is that they won't be actually voting against Matt Gaetz. No. And they won't be voting against RFK either. Here's Donald Trump's statement on RFK. We waited actually yesterday until we heard there's been rumors. There's been rumors out today that Dan Bongino will become FBI director. Maybe Kash Patel. Maybe we're meeting with some of these people. There are still some big time open positions inside of the federal government that we'll see. We'll see what happens next, right? What we hear is that it's going to be very, very exciting. But we wait until Trump confirms, all right? This is a very important practice. You wait until Trump confirms. Trump confirming RFK yesterday, saying effectively that we have a sick country. The industrial food complex and drug companies have engaged in deception, misinformation, disinformation when it comes to public health. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to have eaten McDonald's with Donald Trump aboard his plane. But I want those McDonald's fries to be fried in beef tallow again. You know, they used to fry them in beef tallow. Why'd they stop? It's not for the money. It's not. It's not like less expensive to get oil from seeds. They just had they just have people that can make higher profit margins off of that product. They have heavier, bigger hitting interests. It's so corrupt. It's so corrupt. It's freaking awesome. Here's our upgrade. And this is the official upgrade. Maybe the greatest upgrade in American history. Like truly. Name me a better upgrade in American history. Maybe like Hillary to Trump, right? Like maybe that's it. Like name me a bigger upgrade in American history. Kamala to Trump. You can't get better. You cannot get better than this. Well done, RFK. RFK, an answer to prayer. I think this is such an important moment. We've all often described it as a renaissance, a revolution. I like revival. It feels like a revival. It is energetic. And if you need further evidence of that, look no further than President Trump being saved from a bullet. But if you need one more bit of evidence, then God's hand literally moving the bullet from Trump's skull, Trump turning his head at the exact right last millisecond. Then look at this commentary from RFK saying that he's prayed his entire life for an opportunity to save America's children from chronic disease. And who did God send him?
I started working on this issue 19 years ago. And for 19 years, I have got every morning, without one exception, I have said a prayer to God to put me in a position where I could end the chronic disease epidemic. And on August 23rd of this year, God sent me Donald J. Trump.
God sent me Donald J. Trump. Yeah, it's kind of nice to just have somebody out and out say it. And Kennedy, what better possible motivation could you have than to save sick children and to end chronic disease in this country? And you can do it because we're being made sick by our own government. Dr. Fauci, man. Dr. Fauci down bad. This is RFK Jr. is the guy who wrote the real Anthony Fauci, describing the morbid and inhumane, demonic experiments that this guy did on beagles, on torturing animals. It's all going to be exposed. I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of things banned. There's going to be a lot of very dangerous chemicals banned in this nation, and rightfully so. In fact, boys, can you load that RFK clip that we did that went so viral yesterday, talking about what, like, the coal blast byproducts, petroleum products in our foods? Man, how you could ever argue with this guy? You can't. Yeah, Barack Obama was considering putting RFK in his administration. Libs down bad. They have nothing. You have no power here. You have no power here. And lo and behold, like George Soros' son, straight up admitting that they're on the wrong side of history. An incredible moment. It's remarkable. You have nothing left. And so what they're going to resort to is they're going to resort to shrieking and screaming. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here's the left. Our Salt That Lib of the day. Get your salt shakers out, please. I want salt pouring through the comment section. You know how we do on this program. Here's the left screaming with rage that a man's coming in to save our children from dying of obesity. Here we go.
Well, America, I hope you like measles. Thanks to all of you. This just in, President-elect Donald Trump has just announced a new name to be added to his incoming administration.
You're exactly right? He's just flooding the zone with shit to hope to get maybe other appointees down the line. Because they got to absorb these bunch of idiots, right, that are coming out right now.
Oh, my God. I mean, those of us who have spent our, lifetime, kind of decades working in and around in HHS, I'm not kidding, Nicole, my texts are flying off the chain, both Democrats and Republicans saying, this can't be real. Someone must have gotten this wrong. This can't be possible. And now the second underlying chain, there's some silver linings. The second thought I had is he can't get confirmed, can he? But
I don't know what you want me to say. I am just at a loss because we're watching something happen in slow motion that is terrifying. You know, the reason we have a great country is because there are pillars in place. There are columns and structures, just like in your house, columns and pillars that you don't see. But they keep things in a good place. They keep things in a good direction. We have healthy children because there are people who've made sure that there are things in place for that. And right now we're seeing termites unleashed on everything. And this is a termite appointment. We know for sure that Bobby Kennedy is a vaccine denier. He's a vaccine denier. He denies being a denier. But
this is the absolute triumphant takeover of the Republican Party by MAGA. And it will be the takeover of the U.S. government by MAGA if the Senate lets all of these people go through.
I agree with Jamie Ratskin. That's the entire MAGA takeover of the party. Yes, that's exactly right. This is exactly right. There was a report out yesterday, and we've been watching this very closely because we got our nerves up about these Senate Republicans. They make us very angry. They're staffed with these Paul Ryan staffers, these McCarthy staffers, McConnell still in the Senate, Palpatine pulling the strings behind the scenes. Makes us very nervous. But a report out from the Senate yesterday of senators saying they don't have the will to fight Trump. They don't like Matt Gaetz. The word on the street is they don't like Matt Gaetz. They don't like the selection. They'd rather it be some establishment prick that'll roll over like Jeff Sessions, give the left anything they want. But they don't have any will to fight. They have no, what that means in political speak is they have no leverage. There's no bartering chip. They can't go back to South Dakota and explain why they voted against Trump in the first days of his election. Voting John Thune in for speaker is bad enough. And senators are catching a load of hell. And they will catch a load of hell for a long time. But I think that the speaker vote can be almost it could be forgotten about if they approve Trump's cabinet and get people like RFK and especially Matt Gaetz in there. Matt Gaetz is critical to this mission. Ladies and gentlemen, why would you argue with this man? This is the guy. I'm going to play you this clip. It went viral. We're not going to play the full thing. We'll play a portion of it. How could you possibly argue with this message? And this is something that really struck me as a parent and somebody who was raised, obviously, on Captain Crunch, quite frankly. And I'm not a hater. I'm not like a ban the big gulps guy. I'm not. But anybody who's been to Europe, anybody who's lived in Europe for a little bit, like I did, after college, that was where my first job was, actually. Like, knows that there are toxins and poisons inside that are allowed in our food that are disallowed in other first world countries because they are classified as poisons, and we shouldn't be giving them to our children. They create horrible maladies in our kids. Provable. They need to be banned, actually. RFK Jr. doing that would be the greatest service to America in my lifetime, because what you do is you renew an entire new generations of Americans, and also you would start flushing out some of the toxins, some of the poisons from our political system as well. Here's what I believe is the single most profound video ever made by a now or soon to be governing secretary. Let's go.
This is what most Americans innocently put into their bodies these days, and most alarmingly, into the bodies of their children. And it's no coincidence that Americans die earlier than Canadians or Germans or Italians or Japanese or Koreans or Australians or most any other comparable country. And it wasn't always that way. Until the early 1990s, our life expectancy was the same or better than other developed countries. Then suddenly, more and more Americans began suffering from chronic diseases, from obesity, cancer, diabetes, kidney disease, Alzheimer's, heart disease, and all kinds of autoimmune diseases. Our maternal mortality rate soared to the highest of any developed country on earth. Same with infant mortality. Like the frog in the slowly boiling water, we didn't really notice as we got sicker and sicker. We've grown now to accept chronic disease conditions as normal. But now, in 2024, we're finally waking up to this cataclysm, and we're asking ourselves, how in the world did this happen? A big part of it is our diet. Restaurants that serve contaminated food are fined or shut down. But when it's the government that approves the poisons in our food, a few people get very, very rich, and the toxins end up in every supermarket aisle. Let me show you what I mean. Doritos, Cheez-Its, Cap'n Crunch, gummy bears. Everyone knows that these are junk foods, so maybe you wouldn't be too surprised to see that the ingredients include a lot of poisons, including a harmful yellow dye called tartrazine, or yellow dye number 5. What you may not know is that this dye was originally made out of the sludge that's left over when you turn coal into coke for blast furnaces. It's called coal tar, and I've actually sued many big industries for legacy contamination of coal tar all around the country because it's so toxic and it's so harmful to the environment and human beings. A century ago, it was just an obnoxious industrial byproduct that everybody was trying to figure out ways to get rid of. One of the ways that they did that was by paving roads. But then a British chemist figured out that the coal tar could be used to derive fabric dye. And if fabric dye, why not food? Food manufacturers began using it to cover up the discoloration of low-quality foods that they wanted to pass off on unsuspecting customers. They didn't know back then that this yellow dye, tartrazine, causes tumors, asthma, developmental delays, neurological damage, ADD, ADHD, hormone disruption, gene damage, anxiety, depression, intestinal injuries. Well, we know it now. We've known this for decades. That's why tartrazine is heavily restricted in other countries. In some countries, foods with tartrazine have a warning label that it may cause ADHD in children. Today, it's made from petroleum, not coal tar. Either way, it's crazy to add this to your kids' favorite foods. It doesn't even change the flavor. This yellow dye isn't just in junk food. It's in the foods that we consider healthy. It's in everyday kids' snacks like popcorn, mac and cheese, fruit snacks. It's in sports drinks like Gatorade and so-called vitamin water. It's even added to chicken broth, to corn, to pickles, to mustard, and to yogurt. And so, of course, our kids get sick. And we lovingly feed them chewable vitamins, which have, surprise, tartrazine. And so the cycle continues until the coughs and asthma kick in, at which point you go to pick up some cough syrup. And yeah, you guessed it, tartrazine. I've been picking on tartrazine today, but that's just one of at least 100 chemical poisons that our health agencies allow into our children's food. I can make a video just like this to talk about Red 40, BHA, BHD, potassium bromate, chemical after chemical, and on and on and on. If just one of them can cause all of these problems, imagine what they're doing in combination. That has never been studied. What
if we put that man in charge? of our food. That's what Donald Trump just did. I encourage you to watch the whole thing. There's only about a minute left, but it's the single greatest act of love that you can do for your nation, to ask that your children be kept away from chronic disease and that your nation remain healthy, and that your federal government does what they can to keep our men and women out of war and keep our children from becoming chronically diseased for the rest of their life. RFK goes on to say it's Trump who actually cares about this. Democrats are the ones who took the cash. Trump's the one who's planning on stopping it, of all people. Democrats put him in school lunches, right? It's a wonderful thing. It's an act of love for your nation. And you must love your country. You have to love the people of your country to lead your country. It is a prerequisite to love the country you wish to lead. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a pretty amazing amount of love happening right now. The entire world's gone MAGA. I think we put this up yesterday. It's like a photo of America from space. It's like the globe with a MAGA hat on, right? It's the entire world's gone MAGA. So last night, to the shock of pretty much everyone, one of the single greatest Hollywood stars living today, arguably this side of Tom Cruise, maybe the biggest Hollywood star currently working today, Sylvester Stallone, walked on stage. Truly, everyone was aghast. Walked on stage. Sylvester Stallone walks on stage at Mar-a-Lago, embraces Donald Trump, and says, this man is the next George Washington. He's our George Washington. Hollywood down bad. You want to talk about a realignment. We can't move off this topic without going from RFK, who's the champion trying to keep this country healthy, to a Hollywood actor and movie star, an action hero, who made his bones off of, well, being a rock star, being a hero, being healthy, being Rocky, right? Champion, respect, champion. Here's Sylvester Stallone at Mar-a-Lago last night.
Let's keep it short and sweet, because there's no such a thing as a speech too short. When I did Rocky, if you remember, the first image was a picture of Jesus, and it says Resurrection AC Club. I found a church that had been converted to a boxing ring. So the image pans down from Jesus onto Rocky being hit. And at that moment, he was a chosen person, and that's how I began the journey. Something was going to happen. This man was going to go through a metamorphosis and change lives, just like President Trump. We are in the presence of a really mythical character. I love mythology. And this individual does not exist on this planet. Nobody in the world could have pulled off what he pulled off, so I'm in awe. And I'll just say this, and I mean it. When George Washington defended his country, he had no idea that he was going to change the world. Because without him, you can imagine what the world would look like. Guess what? We got the second George Washington. Congratulations!
A living legend. The curse of this country, the curse of the Hollywood celebrity is over. Taylor Swift lost votes for Kamala. New data out showing that young women moved toward Trump because of Taylor Swift's endorsement. Turns out that young women don't want to be childless cat ladies, singing about all the bad decisions that they made in their lives and all the bad choices. They don't want to be miserable. They don't want to be acting like they're 15 when they're 40, which is what Taylor Swift's doing. That's kind of sad, actually. We're all in on the joke. Maybe you're not, Taylor, but you're the person who's sad here. And people don't want to emulate you or Lizzo, for that matter. Boy, book Lizzo a meeting with RFK, please. Nobody wants that. What they want, actually, is to live in a clean country, a stable country, a safe country, a country where meritocracy reigns, where the government is honest with them about data, data about crime statistics and immigration, facts that may be uncomfortable or not be politically correct, but like are real. That is what RFK is going to bring to HHS. We're so excited for the RFK files. I would have been very excited to have RFK at the CIA because I believe the CIA had a hand in his uncle's murder. But I'll take it at HHS. All the right people are freaking out and losing their mind, and they're saying prosecute Fauci. So there we go. They want people who are the smartest in our nation to be running this place, just like you would with a Fortune 500 company. There's not a single person that wants to invest in America when they watch Joe Biden walk down a beach. Or Kamala Harris try and read a teleprompter being interviewed by Oprah. What a fraud Oprah is. But when they see Elon Musk on stage, who's without a doubt going to be the world's first trillionaire, a guy who's in charge of the most successful companies on earth, when they see Elon Musk on stage, like they did last night, they say, wow, like that's a person that I would want running my company. This is the kind of person that has the track record to make this country great again. Here's Elon.
The Constitution. Anyway, so if that's George Soros of the light, that's me. But I'm incredibly excited about the future, and the Republic has given us a mandate that could not be more clear. It's the clearest mandate. 20 popular vote, clearly, the House, the Senate, the Electoral College by a mile, majority of governorships, majority of legislatures, all Republican. The people have spoken. The people want change. And we're going to give it to them. They will get what they asked for. I think this is going to be the most transformative presidency perhaps since the founding of the country.
The most transformative presidency since the founding of the country. Sorry for the quality on that clip. There was a professional AV team there that was covering this, but they weren't live for this moment. They were live for this moment, though, with Vivek saying, get ready, we are not bringing a scalpel, we're bringing a chainsaw to the federal government. To tie into what we talked about with Matt Gaetz, the tweet, you're all going to jail, here comes the chainsaw.
Last Tuesday was not the destination, it was the start line for the revival of this country. The cabinet picks this week, you know what, Donald Trump wasn't afraid in putting Tom Homan and Kristi Noem in charge of the mass deportations of millions of illegals for this country. But I also want to thank him for making sure that Elon Musk and I are in a position to start the mass deportations of millions of unelected federal bureaucrats out of the D.C. bureaucracy. That, too, is how we're going to save this country. And I don't know if you've got to know Elon yet, but he doesn't bring a chisel, he brings a chainsaw, and we're going to be taking it to that bureaucracy. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I do want to say this, is that we've been taught to believe over the last 4 years that we have become a nation in decline, that we're at the end of the ancient Roman Empire. All we have is to fight over the scraps of some shrinking pie. I don't think we have to stay that nation in decline. I think with what happened last week, we're back to being a nation in our ascent, a nation whose best days are actually still ahead.
And you want to correct perspective on that? You want to see that in action? Here's a video of Javier Milei. We talked about Nayib Bukele, the leader of El Salvador. Here's Javier Milei, the libertarian leader of Argentina, doing the Trump dance last night. The dude's doing the Trump dance last night at Mar-a-Lago. What a world. What a freaking world that we live in. The golden era, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone is dancing. Everyone has a reason to celebrate right now, but there's virtually no one this side of the direct Trump family that deserves to celebrate more than Alina Habba. Alina Habba stood at the side of President Trump again and again and again and again when no one else would, when it was very lonely out there. We covered it. We tried to give as much digital support as we could. And you remember we would go live for Alina Habba press conferences. But man, it was lonely out there for quite a while. Now when you're on the winning team, boy, everyone seems to be ready to take the field, ready to cheer. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now live on the program is somebody who's been there all along, who's been fighting, and who won't give up the fight, especially now that we are winning. The great Alina Habba joins the show live now. Alina Habba!
Hi.
Welcome back. We're so excited to see you this morning.
Good to see you.
Donald Trump last night, welcomed by Rocky himself, calling him the next George Washington. I find this particularly funny because Kamala Harris ended her campaign on the Rocky steps, and now Rocky's embracing Trump and saying that he's the next great American hero.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's a Republican today. So when you're winning, everybody wants to be with you. What can I say? They should have listened to us 3 years ago, but I'll take it. I'll take it. No, Sylvester Stallone's been great. He's actually a friend and a friend of the president's. He's always been tremendous. And I mean, that's just, look at that. That's amazing. We're doing epic things. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's like Hollywood down bad. I mean, listen, like I'll take, you can trade me everyone on the Diddy list and all the Lizzos you can put together for a Sylvester Stallone. This is a fantastic trade.
How'd that go for Kamala, the twerking on this stage? I mean, I'm just wondering, how's that feeling for you? You know, she's in debt. She's paying all these people. We didn't pay people to come up and sing for us. We didn't have to do that. We didn't have to have, people playing instruments and singing songs and twerking, because that's not what America wants. It's what they think they wanted. And who would have thought that people don't give a shit what George Clooney has to say? Don't really care. Stick to acting, buddy. Stick to acting.
You've retired George Clooney from politics. He says, I'm not doing politics anymore. I'm stepping back. It's like Trump actually retired.
I didn't know he was in. This was epic. It's, why were you in freaking politics? Nobody voted you in. Nobody voted you in. This is what's unbelievable. Like these people, I remember, who was it? The New York guy that showed up outside the courtroom, another Hollywood guy, showed up outside the courtroom screaming like a maniac and a lunatic while we were in court.
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro canceled. Like, dude, no one asked your opinion. You were just supposed to go be an actor. So bye, go away. And America said that. They were like, we don't care. We don't care. It's the same reason nobody watches the Oscars, because they've made it a political thing. You're not a political person, you're an actor. And they've gotten so big in the head that, anyway, thanks. You helped tank the campaign for Kamala.
Actually, they proved this with Taylor Swift. That Taylor Swift moved young women to vote for Trump. That Taylor Swift cost Kamala Harris votes. What's the lesson there?
My kids shut Taylor Swift off when she comes on. My friends' kids shut Taylor Swift off when she comes on. Not because of me, but because they're like, she hates Trump, shut it off. The truth is, like, why? Why would you ever choose to shut out half of America? You're an entertainment industry. Just as a business-minded person, probably not the wisest thing to do for your brand. But here we are. I'll never go to a Taylor Swift concert. If I saw her, I would ignore her. I was once in the elevator with Cardi B. She rolled her eyes at me, and I looked at her. I was like, you twerk. I'm a lawyer who's working to save America and prevent a president from going to jail. You twerk. Enough.
She also had a really tough time with the teleprompter when it went off and had to read her entire speech. Stood up there for 2 minutes in silence and had to read her script from her phone. It really does seem so pre-planned, so orchestrated, so paid off. We're now seeing the reports from the campaign. Oprah got $1 million from the Kamala campaign, then lied about it on TMZ. Said, "Oh no, I'm so sorry. I didn't do it." And then she had to fess up and said, "Yeah, actually, the Kamala campaign."
Is that confirmed now?
confirmed.
So she lied when she was walking in her leggings to the
Yep.
Range Rover,
Yep.
said she didn't make money, and then had to admit it. So I'm a very honest person. I don't lie. I don't care. Anything I say, I expect to be held accountable for. But I will tell you this, like, this was the best they had. People from The View helped us win. People from MSNBC helped us win because you're so out of it. The anger, the craziness, the crying after the election. America saw that in 2016. You know, there's that meme of that woman in the yellow jacket crying, screaming because we lost. You know, that's just ridiculous. I never cried and screamed when Obama won. I'm a lifelong Republican, but I can tell you right now, I mean, get it together. Like, this is not the end of the world. Eva Longoria, I'm leaving the country. Bye. I mean, bye. Grant Cardone said he would fill up the plane. He has planes. He will fill up the plane and ship you out. I want to hold everybody accountable that said that they were going to leave the country. Yes. I want you to hold your, listen, you said it. I didn't say I was leaving if Kamala was going to win, but you make comments like that. You freak people out. You fearmonger. And you use your fame to think you somehow have an opinion that people care about in the polls, and they don't. They actually, you hurt that. They hurt Kamala. I really believe that. It was too far left. It was too celebrity Hollywood. And California is one state, and frankly, people are turning on Newsom. Look at the DA, just lost. You know, it's just not what America wants anymore. They're out of touch.
Yeah, I mean, the number of celebrity endorsements backfiring for Kamala, I think they're going to have to rethink the entire strategy, much like they'll have to rethink the entire lawfare strategy. You're currently in New York. Juan Merchan, you may pass him in the street. What would you tell Juan Merchan exactly
well,
if you were in an elevator with him?
If I was not Donald Trump's lawyer, what would I tell him? What are you doing? Dismiss the case. You're embarrassing yourself. As an attorney, obviously, I can't speak to a judge. I'm not the attorney on that case, though. So I can say this. I think that people are really, they were so transparently angry, and they were so transparently foolish with the lawfare that these are the people that are the poster children for why we won. Letitia James and Governor Hochul came out the day after the election and had a narcissistic press conference like I've never seen in my life, where they made it about the resistance and like, oh, it's the resistance. We're going to come after you. Oh, they think they're going to come in and be the president of the United States, and we're not going to listen to. So now you're not going to listen to the president of the United States. We don't like that culture as Americans. Yes. We don't like it. That's why everybody, including New Jersey, almost turned red where I'm from, because America's freaked out. If you're doing this to a billionaire, what if you do it to me? I'm not a billionaire. I can't afford that kind of attack. I can't afford the lawyers for that. That's scary for America. And these people are the face of the Trump campaign. The lawyer for Donald Trump is now on Benny Johnson because they've tried so hard to knock him down that it became part of our campaign. This is un-American. You should be ashamed. He should have dismissed that case on Tuesday. He needed another week. What do you need a week for? The Supreme Court already held there's immunity. What do you need a week for? It's not a good PR week for you? You need to wait a week? Your PR team telling you no? Like, these are things judges are not supposed to do. They're just not. And those are people that I really am concerned about, but I'm really proud of. Listen, that's why Gates is coming in.
Yes. Todd Blanche is going to have a high-profile position at DOJ.
Yay, Todd. I talked to him this morning. I'm so proud of him.
We're very proud of him. And our friend and friend of the show, Matt Gaetz.
Yes.
This is the biggest bombshell yet, and it is genius.
Meltdowns.
We've devoted entire shows to what a genius decision it is. Talk us through this, obviously, as one of the nucleus inside of Trump's legal brain. This Gaetz decision, how did it come about? What do you expect to happen in the Senate? What's going to happen to Republicans that potentially vote against Gaetz?
Well, I'm not a politician. What I know is the law. And what I know is what Matt has gone through. He's been attacked. He knows what that's like. They've tried to have investigations for him. There's nothing new that we don't know about Matt Gaetz. Everybody acts like Donald Trump picked this person. Is he aware of what they've accused him? We all know. The truth is, he's the victim of the same exact behavior, and he gets it. And that selective prosecution, persecution for people with big mouths that aren't afraid is why he's perfect for the job. He's not going to buckle. He's not going to be afraid. He is going to be quite honestly entertaining to watch. But more importantly, he cares about America, and he's a friend of mine. He's a great person, and he's been attacked just like Donald Trump. So he'll go in there and find out what has been going on. I mean, you've seen reports this morning. I saw a report that they're cleaning up all the evidence of DEI selections in the military. They're trying to take things off of the website. They're scared and panicked. And what we'll see from the left-wing media right now is going to be the fear-mongering. This guy's this guy's all the names that they like to call Donald Trump. They're going to start calling Gates. They're just going to start attacking the cabinet. And feel free. We're ready for it. We've lived it. And unfortunately for them, we do have the House. We do have, we have the Senate. And at the end of the day, Donald Trump knows what he's doing. He's putting people that will not be afraid. These aren't Trump people. These are America people that will not be afraid, that will use the law, that will clean up people that didn't use the law appropriately, that weaponize our justice system. And it will stop. It will stop on January 20th. It has to stop.
I think that probably there are many scared, there are thousands of scared people at the DOJ. According to many reports, they're literally shaking in fear, living in a salt mine of tears.
Yeah.
But this got to be the scariest for Jack Smith. Now, you've been at war with Jack Smith for quite a while. You've stared down Jack Smith. Jack Smith is now scurrying like a rat. He's not going to give Trump an opportunity to fire him, as you've predicted on this program. He's going to resign. Your message to Jack Smith?
Bye. Bye. We're not done with him, because I'll tell you right now, what he did, $50 million of taxpayer dollars. When I say we, I mean the American people. You can't resign and hide from what you did. You cannot. And, for these people that are real tough guys, you're running real quick. And that tells me that we were right. We were right. Yeah. Every time someone said, I was wrong, she's so stupid, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I'm screaming on the courtroom stairs, I don't look so wrong right now. Because if you have nothing to hide, where are you going?
So Matt Gaetz is lock. I know that there are a number of senators who tell us very positive things about the numbers with Gaetz in the Senate, and that he'll be able to get flatly approved and confirmed. However, there are some senators who are leaking to the media or sniveling to the media as the same typical people, and we cross-reference their votes for Merrick Garland, for Alejandro Mayorkas, for Lisa Monaco, the people who attacked your boss and tried to lock him up for life. And, they voted for them, these Republicans. Yeah.
Yeah.
A message to them, maybe.
Yeah, we see you.
Here are their votes. Yeah.
There you go. Look at them. We see you. Who's on there? Oh.
McConnell voted for Mark Garland.
Wow.
Yeah, McConnell did.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see you. Listen, I don't know. I think that I believe very much in our system. I think our system works. I believe everybody has a right to say yay or nay. I'm not going to be, we're not a dictatorship. But I will say this. Your options and what you did for the last 3.5 years, you better think about that when you go to vote for these people, because you don't know what's right. And these are people that have other interests. I'll tell you right now, I hate politicians that are not voting for the people they represent, the American people, and who elected them. They're voting for politics, they're voting for favors and lobbying. And I don't like any of that. And I'm telling you, if you want to fix America, and this is to every single person on that list, if you want to fix America, you better get behind America first. And that might not be good for your friends or your politics, but you got to man up. Because these people are rhinos only because they have no backbone. You have to have a backbone. You have to say, I am Republican, I'm America first, and I also have belief that the President of the United States, who led our charge for 4 years and did amazing with no wars, a great economy, safety, security, all those things, that man is making the right decisions. And by the way, it's even more correct now, because in 2016, he didn't know what he was doing when he went in. He didn't know these people. Now he knows them. And he doesn't just know them for 4 years. He's known them since the day he walked down the escalator. He has weeded out the garbage, the rhinos. He is putting the people in that are America first. So you got to get behind him, because frankly, America's behind him. And if there's any question, look at the numbers, popular vote, the polls. I mean, get behind him. What you're doing isn't working. Trump got everybody their jobs. Everybody, right? We won because of Donald Trump. And that was epic. And I think that, we're going to crush it. We're going to crush it in a major way, but they got to get behind him.
So there is one and only one extreme disappointment for us in our program in Trump's selections so far, and that's you saying you won't be White House press secretary. We gasped.
Don't put that on them.
We cried.
Don't put that on them. That's on me.
Oh no, not on them. I'm just saying we were waiting for it. We were so pumped for it. But we saw the tweet. It seems like a personal decision. Just maybe just sound off. I mean, I'm a young parent as well. I totally get it. It's a lot of work, and nobody wants to live in the swamp. I understand.
No, I'll be honest with you. I feel like I've been his press secretary for many years, to be honest. And there were people that really wanted it that I'm friends with, and I didn't want to get in their way. I have done, and I have such a platform because of the president. And it's been the greatest honor to speak for him for years and to speak for the American people for years. But that is not a job that I would feel is something I frankly haven't done yet. I think I've done it. I know it would be great. I'm not saying I never would do it down the road if he needed me. I mean, I would definitely consider it. But the truth is, it's just, I've done it. I've been there, and I've been in it worse, with no guardrails in the streets of New York. And it was the most amazing opportunity. But I also love some of the people around me, and I know that they really want it. And I had a talk with some of them, and I said, this is for you now. I'm good. And I'm not saying I'm not going to work with President Trump and the administration. I haven't figured it out and found what it is that would work for everybody yet. But, I have a lot of options, and I'm so blessed to be in this position. And I also feel we won. We've done so much. And, I'd like to take a tiny bit of credit for the voice I had, but I also say that, I'm the most loyal person to him. If he actually really needed me in any role, there is no question that me and my family would bend over backwards for whatever he needed. So we'll see. It's a TBD, but definitely not. That's not a job that I want. I've done it. I need a voice.
So we have this footage on the screen of you standing up against the machine. Very lonely these days. We were live for them with you. We were doing as best as we could to support you digitally in these days.
Yeah,
but it was you against the machine. It was you against the monolith, right? For many months, and you were giving these lonely press conferences with pretty much no one behind you on these courts of New York against the entire system. Right. And then it flipped. We saw something magical at Madison Square Garden, and we saw your speech at Madison Square Garden. It flipped when suddenly then there were 20,000 people cheering for you, behind you, and it was some of the biggest roars of the evening.
Yeah, magical.
Was your Madison Square Garden speech here. And it must be just absolutely wonderful.
There it is.
To have
MAGA shuffle.
To have experienced like the full flip, right, of the country.
Yeah. And I will say, though, I don't forget that I was alone there. There were other lawyers that wouldn't stand with me.
Yes.
And it's I think that's part of why the president trusted me and kept me so forward, was because I had balls when nobody wanted to be around him. I will always support him. He's always supported me. And, while the media was knocking me and saying horrible things about me, he kept saying, go out there. And every time I did, it took a little bit of time for people to actually hear what I was saying and be like, wait, everything she said 2 years ago was right. Everything she said. And the left will be like, she lost $1 million. Well, first of all, there's so much to that. Like, number one, I didn't even try the underlying case. That was someone else. We lost that case. I had to try the damages portion. And I didn't even try the hush money case. But they'll say, oh, he's got 34 felonies because of Alina Habba. I didn't even try that case. But people put me as the face of Trump when things are bad. And now all of a sudden, I never got so many phone calls in my life of like, Alina, you did it. I'm like, where were you? Where were you when we were dark, when people didn't want him to run, when he was getting raided, when he was getting indicted, when I had to walk out in Miami for the first indictment, when I had to walk out in January 6th indictment in Washington by myself? Where were they? And look, what doesn't break you makes you stronger. And I'm a pretty tough cookie. So I'm proud of the work I've done.
So Madison Square Garden is another place where you were, and it was quite iconic. Fight night. This was, I think, like 18 months ago. You were there with the FJB necklace. This is the famous FJB necklace that shook the internet. This was also at Madison Square.
Yeah.
And a preview of things to come.
Yeah.
You are going to the Jake Paul Tyson fight.
I can't wait.
Tonight in Dallas. So who you clearly know the culture. You were, I think, in the same article. She's photobombed by Kid Rock.
Ambassador Johnson. That's Ambassador Johnson. He owns the Jets. He's the greatest. And poor guy, he's on the front page of the New York Post with my freaking necklace. I felt so bad. I called him. I was like, "Sorry, Ambassador."
So I don't know if he's going to show up to the Tyson fight tonight. What's going to happen? Who you got, Alina? Tyson, Paul.
First of all, I'm proudly stand with Mike Tyson. He is actually a friend of mine. I don't say that lightly. Kiki and Mike, his wife, are epic. And they have invited me. I'm going to be ringside cheering him on. I literally talked to Kiki Tyson this morning and said, "How's he doing? How's our champ?" And, I was dying last night when he stepped on his foot and Mike just slapped him in the face. I was like, God, in the next life, I'm going to be a fighter too. I'm just a different kind of fighter. But I love you. But I know we're on different sides of the coin on this. So I think Tyson's he's a legend, man. He's going to crush. I'm ready. I'll be screaming my lungs out for him.
So Jake Paul is friendly with us. We've never collabed on anything, right? But he's friendly with us. He shares our content, which is cool.
Thanks.
And we have Mike Tyson, though. They're both Trump supporters. Am I wrong, Alina?
No, they're supporters.
They're both Trump supporters, right?
I had dinner with Mike and Melania and DJT and Barron and my daughter and husband, and invited them to Mar-a-Lago. They had never been, and it was one of my favorite memories from the last 3.5 years. Yeah, there's my little girl with Mike. And she's so savage. She's just like me. She's like, I was like, whoa. I was like, Chloe, want to smile for the picture? She goes, I was like, okay. That's why Mike's laughing.
Puts up the fist.
She gave him the fist. She's 7 years old there. He's actually one of the kindest people, but he definitely has a switch. And if you switch that switch like he did yesterday, you will get slapped in the face. And I think Tyson's going to crush him. I hope nobody gets hurt. But I will tell you that, he's it's Tyson. Come on. It's Tyson. How can you not get behind that guy? He's awesome. Legend.
Not. He's been a fan of the president for a long time.
So good to the president. President loves him, to be honest.
Champ knows a champ.
Yeah, he's the champ. And, they're two champs. They're both champs, and they both share ambition, fight. They have fight in them, That's the truth. And they're amazing. Seeing them talk together is great. It's literally probably one of my top 3 best memories.
So we know that's why the president liked you. I think the president's going to be at the UFC.
He's going to UFC tomorrow. I'm going to be at Tyson tonight.
Okay.
Separate events. All good things. I'm friends with Dana White. UFC's epic. Obviously, I've been to many of those, and I'm sorry to be missing that. But it's going to be a very fun-filled fight weekend.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Fight. You got photobombed by Kid Rock. I still can't.
Bob, thanks,
I still can't.
Bob, putting your hair in my face there.
In closing, since we started with this, maybe we should end. What would be your greater overall message to Democrats who seem to be struggling right now? Even Alex Soros this morning, like moments before moments before we started the show.
Yeah.
Alex Soros is like, Trump won. He defeated us. He's better than us. He's bigger than both parties. Trump won. He's the undisputed champion. This is like the heir to the Soros dynasty, right? And Elon's like up in his mentions, like, come to the bright side, right? Come over to our side, right? It's amazing.
Listen, we welcome
it's an incredible moment.
We welcome all, and I think that's very big of Alex. And never
Here's
in my life did I think I would say something nice about a Soros family member. But I think that that's very big of Alex, and I think that that's what America needs. You have to be able to take a punch and say, what did we do wrong? And the Trump team could have quit after 2020, but you don't. You get up and you fight too. And that doesn't mean we fight against each other. This is a perfect example of what America needs. Fight together. Be together. Realize that what was working, the divisiveness, it didn't work. What did work was Patriots, America first, make America great again, strong messages of unity. And I hope Alex gets to sit down, I'll sit down with him anytime and really sit down and talk. I saw somebody who was on the other side of media last night at dinner, and he came up to me and shook my hand and said, Alina, I hope I'm wrong. And I said, we're going to prove you wrong because we don't want to hurt anybody. We want to help the country. And and I think that's really the truth. We're not here to hurt. We're here to help. And that's been our message all along while they've been trying to hurt him, is let us help you. Let us help you. Let us get it together. Let us save America. Nobody wants this anymore. Let's be united. Let's be peaceful. Let's be safe. And let's be prosperous.
Some of the greatest celebrated picks of Donald Trump have been Democrats. Just a few years ago, you have Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
You talk about like what an actual America cabinet looks like, and they're being cheered by MAGA from the rafters.
Because we're not the party of divisiveness, we're the party of unity. And I think that the more that we can be one united country, the more Alex can push that message. And thank you to Alex Soros for that message from me. And I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. But you've got to own when you lose. And you got to say, now we got to get behind. This is America. You got to stand behind President Trump. He won. That's what America wanted. And we as Americans stand behind Americans. When Obama won, we stood behind Obama. When, that is what we used to do. We used to do that. And the country stopped doing that at some point. And I really want the country I grew up in. I don't want this country. And Donald Trump wants the country he grew up in. I give him credit for saying that. And I think that America will be excited about more commentary like that that's uniting and not divisive.
Man, so you got left-wing journalists coming up to you being like, great
I got a hug.
Great job.
I got a hug.
You a hug?
Oh, no. I got a hug. I was like, no, he was great. I'll leave his name so that he could keep his job out of it. But I will say, he said, I hope I'm wrong. And I said, you will be. I said, and not in a mean way. I said, but we're not here to hurt. I said that to him. I said, we're not here to ruin anybody's country. We're here to save our country and help our children. And he said, that's all I care about is my kids. I said, that's all I care about too. Amazing. And the more we can have conversations like that, the better the country will be.
Amazing. In closing, very quickly, Laura Trump for Senate.
Yeah, if she wants it, I want it. Look, she's a friend of mine. If she wants it, I want it. That's it. That's the way it goes.
We're reading the tea leaves. Sounds like she wants it. So talk about shaking things up. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Alina Habba, the undisputed. I mean, I got to tell you, it's like Trump is the boxer in the middle of the ring, but you got to have that one person in your corner who believes in you. The Mickey. And Alina Habba has been that for President Trump.
Thank you.
And you've got to go give her a follow. Of course. I mean, you got almost 500,000 people following. Yeah. We're on our way to 1 million for Alina Habba.
Yeah.
And she is the person who saw the fighter and was behind him every step of the way. And Alina, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Godspeed. Have a great time tonight.
Thanks. Go Tyson.
Tyson, Jake Paul, anybody going to watch this? We're going to watch it. Tyson, Jake Paul, what do you think? Anybody got any money on that fight? We have a legit warrior joining the program in Jim Jordan. We have a legit warrior in Jim Jordan joining the program here momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about what's going on in Congress. Alina Habba talking about the executive branch. Let's head on over to the congressional branch, legislative branch of government. All options are on the table to get Trump cabinet picks through, says John Thune. Okay, fine. All right, we told you we will be watching closely what's going on here. We're Christians on this program. Everybody deserves redemption arc, right? Forgiveness. We don't like what John Thune has done and his record in the Senate. We do not like his proximity to Mitch McConnell, but everybody deserves their second, third, fourth, ninth shot. Okay, so here we go. Incoming Senate Majority Leader John Thune, in his first major interview since becoming Majority Leader, said all options are on the table to get President Trump's cabinet picks through a confirmation process. Concerned some appointees won't receive enough votes to be confirmed. Trump, in recent days, announced his choices for key cabinet positions. Tulsi and Matt Gaetz and RFK Jr., all of them could hit snags in the Senate. John Thune told Brett Baier on Special Report that the Senate Republicans are going to work with Trump to see that he gets his team installed as quickly as possible to implement his agenda. All of these people have a process that they have to go through. All of these nominees are, advise and consent. Senate's constitutional role. Well, you could also do recess appointments. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's John Thune making his first ovations here. We're going to be watching very closely.
So you've said that you would do recess appointments if it came to that. What's the threshold for getting to that point for recess appointments?
Well, what I said is, Brett, and I think this is that all options are on the table, including recess appointments. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we'll find out fairly quickly whether the Democrats want to play ball or not. And I think part of it is getting these folks. We'll start having confirmation hearings as soon as the new Senate is sworn in January. President takes the oath of office January 20th. By the time he takes the oath of office, hopefully a lot of those nominees will be through their confirmation hearings and will be ready to act on them on the Senate floor. And then it's a question of how much do the Democrats resist or object or try to block those nominations from going forward. And we're going to grind them out. I mean, we're just going to keep consistently moving, and we'll see what kind of cooperation we get. And then we'll, like I said, we'll make decisions about where do we go from there.
Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now live to talk about this exciting moment in Washington, D.C. and for the country, somebody who's had Donald Trump's back from the very beginning, somebody who's done campaign rallies with Trump, and the greatest eagle eye for oversight in all of Congress, the congressman from Ohio, Chairman Jim Jordan, joins the program live now. Mr. Chairman, I got to tell you, there's a lot of panic in Washington, D.C. right now, but I'd argue that your letter that you just sent out telling the Biden administration, Jack Smith, to preserve their documents and all of the DOJ lawyers, that's got to be causing some people to reach for the Xanax bottle. It's got to cause some major salt flow in Washington, D.C. So we have the letter. We'll pop it up on screen. You're making national news with this one. Tell us about it, Mr. Chairman.
Well, the tradition, Benny, again, thanks for having us on, but the tradition is Congress gets the report from any special counsel and gets the information from the special counsel. Jack Smith, we think, is in some, that you go back to Nadler when he chaired Judiciary Committee. Bob Mueller issues a report. He comes and testifies. Of course, when we chaired, we had Mr. Durham, Mr. Hur. We currently have David Weiss and Jack Smith, these special counsels. So we want them to preserve the information, particularly Jack Smith, because these prosecutions, as we know, were done solely for politics, solely to go after their political opponent, President Trump. And we want the information. And then I would also add with Jack Smith, there's one of his lawyers, Jay Bratt, who we have real concerns about some things he said to one of the defendant's lawyers, particularly he said, we thought you were interested, the lawyer representing one of the defendants in the case. We thought you were, we didn't know you were a Trump guy. We didn't know that, there's this judge position we know you're interested in, this sort of veiled threat that we want to get to the bottom of that as well. So we want to preserve all information, but this is the normal oversight that the Congress does of special counsels.
What would you, if you were to look for something criminal or something untoward, could you educate us? What would you be looking for? Would you be looking for the Biden White House communicating with this team and pushing the direction of the investigation?
Yeah, and I think we highlight that in the letter where we talk about the same individual we think was meeting with White House officials. Now, I think they may say it was on a different subject, but we got concerns about that. So again, that's why we want you to preserve communications, preserve documents, preserve information that were a part of this investigation, and the people involved in this investigation, their communications with, if it was the White House, we'd like to see that. So that's why we've asked for that preservation.
Congressman, you've come on this program for months and years and said that these prosecutions are political. Donald Trump gets elected, now they're all gone. It's like, congratulations on being right.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the good news is the country knew we were right. And this was part of the reason I think President Trump won this, just the greatest political comeback in American history. I mean, wins all 7 swing states, wins 30 states, wins the popular vote, wins the Electoral College in a landslide, did something Teddy Roosevelt couldn't do, for goodness sake. I mean, amazing. But part of it was the country rightly understood that this lawfare, that these political prosecutions were just that, political, not based on fact, not based on the rule of law. And I think that's one of the key reasons why he won in such an overwhelming fashion.
Yeah, well, what would be your advice to Jack Smith and Fani Willis? Are they going to get more subpoenas to come in and testify about what exactly happened behind the scene? Could they be expecting to hear from you? Are you going to need to send this federal marshals to hunt them down like you did Nathan Wade?
Preserve the documents, Mr. Smith. Give us the information that, preserve that information so when the new administration comes in, we can get that information, take a good look at it. And then, with Fani Willis, that case is just falling apart. And they keep moving back. The Alvin Bragg case was ridiculous as well, and they keep moving back the sentencing date. I think it now is slated for the 26th. So we'll see what they decide there in that case also.
Yeah, you can't call him a felon unless the judge actually sentences him. So that's another down bad moment for our friends on the left. They are very down bad right now. Your colleague Matt Gaetz, appointmentship to the Attorney General. Can you game theory that for us? That seems to be arguably the most controversial pick by President Trump. We freaking love it. We've loved Matt Gaetz and his questions on your committees to everyone from FBI Cyber to Merrick Garland. Talk us through. I know that you're very close with Matt. What's your take?
Well, first of all, I agree with you. I mean, one of the most talented individuals that I've seen in my time in Congress at cross-examining a witness, and also we know if Matt is the Attorney General, we won't have a Justice Department that is saying, well, we should go investigate moms and dads showing up at school board meetings. We won't have a Justice Department where the Richmond field office of the FBI puts together a memorandum which says if you're a pro-life Catholic, you're somehow an extremist. And maybe we'll have a Justice Department that can tell us answers to some kind of basic things like who planted the pipe bombs on January 6th, who leaked the Dobbs decision, and here's one, who put cocaine at the White House? Like, why don't we know that? Like, you'd think they could figure some of those things out, and maybe not have a Justice Department that just weeks before an election, the Civil Rights Division sends a letter to Glenn Youngkin, sends a letter to Ohio's Secretary of State saying, oh, you can't take off non-citizens from the voter registration rolls. So that to me is what this is really about. We want people who value freedom and value the rule of law, not politics from our Justice Department. And it's also why I'm so pleased with the RFK nomination. There's a guy who values freedom and free speech and the First Amendment, and Tulsi Gabbard as well.
I think this is why you can just hear the scream. That I'm all the way in Florida, but you can hear the screams. And I'm not sure if you're in Ohio or not today. You can just hear it out of Washington, D.C. It's a dull roar because the transparency is really going to atomize the credibility of these organizations the moment that you find out that there's DNA on the cocaine at the White House, which there is. And you see that they've been covering that up, whether it's a family member or a high-level staffer. Hard to bring cocaine in the White House, Congressman.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, wouldn't advise anyone ever try. You get hit up by a drug-sniffing dog. When I go into the White House, that's how they treat me. Yep. So don't do that. When you see, if there's evidence that the person with the pipe bomb was a Fed, as the case has been made on this program multiple times, that there's a lot of evidence, very strange circumstances surrounding the pipe bombers. That atomizes the credibility of these agencies like immediately.
Yeah. And Benny, remember, with the Dobbs leaking that decision, we had the lives of Supreme Court justices put in jeopardy. I mean, what they had to do to protect Justice Kavanaugh and others. I mean, but we don't know. We don't know anything about that. I mean, like, come on. Yet you got time to do the crazy things that they're doing. So that just makes no sense. And this free speech thing, I mean, with RFK Jr., I had a conversation with him a couple months ago when he endorsed President Trump. And it was interesting. Maybe we've talked about this, but it was interesting because I told him, I said, when I invited him in as a witness in front of our committee, the Weaponization of Government Committee, I invited Tulsi Gabbard, and the Democrats went after him. In fact, the Democrats think about this. When RFK Jr. comes in and testifies, the Democrats made a motion in the committee hearing to go to executive session to kick everyone out so that no one could hear what RFK Jr. was going to testify to in a hearing on censorship. You can't make this stuff up. So I really appreciate that Tulsi and RFK Jr. have been nominated for the cabinet too, because they understand the First Amendment is critically important for this country to remain the greatest country ever.
there seems to be some reticence or perhaps some cold feet, or maybe Congressman, I'm just like reading into it too much based on the media ecosystem in D.C. But what's your message to Republicans in the Senate about the vote for Gates?
I mean, I have confidence in President Trump. If this is the individual he wants, and we know Mr. Gates and Matt's commitment to protecting liberty, I mean, I think that should be driving the thinking. Same with Tulsi, same with RFK Jr., frankly, same with Pete Hegseth. This is who the American people, with their vote, this overwhelming win for President Trump, I think they said, we want the right attitude in our government. We want people coming in there saying, these agencies are supposed to serve we the people. They're supposed to represent we the taxpayers, and we're sick of the baloney we see from them, the politics and the waste of our money. That's why he's putting in place the people he is. And frankly, that's why you got Mr. Musk and Mr. Ramaswamy who are going to say, like, enough of the ridiculous things that our tax dollars are spent on. Here's the report. Now, Congress, go pass legislation to get rid of some of this stuff. That is exactly the attitude the American people voted for, and the people President Trump is putting up for these key positions have that attitude.
I think people are going to love it. I think the will of the people is at your back, and they're going to want to see these reforms. They're going to want to see reforms like federal voter ID in national elections. They're going to want to not have. There's a county in California that's still counting votes. They're only 30% through counting votes today. It's 11 days from the election. That should be criminal. It shouldn't be allowed. Okay. It seems like also in Bucks County in Pennsylvania, they're trying to really meddle with some things. And
meddle with Dave McCormick's win. And Dave McCormick won that race. And it's like, that's ridiculous.
Pull some shenanigans. That's right. So, again, people would love to see our elections cleaned up and reformed from federal level. Is that on the docket for the House?
Yeah, it is. I think we should be. We had the bill, the SAVE Act, that we tried to get on the appropriations bill before the election. The Democrats wouldn't go for it. I think that's Mr. Stile and Mr. Roy, two great members, have worked on that. I think that's the kind of legislation we need to pass that would help us when we're thinking about the election. That you got to be a citizen. You got to demonstrate you're a citizen before you go register to vote. And I think states should be going with what we have in Ohio. You walk in to vote. There's a signature verification. You have to show your ID. And you got 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans at every single polling location. That's how it's supposed to be.
Speaking of Ohio, many people are floating your name for potentially being the next senator from Ohio. Any comment on that?
No, not going to be me. Not going to be me. I like Congressman Kerry, Congressman Davidson, 2 of my colleagues. I think they would be. I think they'd be tremendous. There's other good people being talked about as well, but that's a decision for the governor. Although I think President Trump may have some influence there, and maybe the guy that they're going to be replacing, who's going to be our next vice president, who did an outstanding job as our senator, maybe he may have a little say as well.
That's exactly right. Big position still yet to be filled. One I know that you'll be watching very closely. Maybe you can fill us in on who's going to be selected. FBI director. This is a monster position that is obviously going to be working. Has been before your committee many times and has been a major problem center when it comes to law enforcement in this country. Your thoughts?
I don't know who it'll be, but I do know I'm confident President Trump will continue with the attitude we talked about, where you're going to put people in these positions who respect the taxpayers. Think about the pre-dawn raids that the FBI has done. People like Mr. Houck, who was simply praying in front of a clinic. His lawyer said if you got questions, he's happy to come in, but no, they got to come into his house. The scene that traumatizes his kids and family. I mean, that kind of stuff is just ridiculous. So we need new leadership at the FBI. I do believe, by and large, the rank and file members are good people. We have 2 former FBI agents who work for the Judiciary Committee. Outstanding guys, great guys, give us amazing insight. They're right out of Central Casting, worked in Pittsburgh and Cleveland, have the Irish and the Italian names and that kind of stuff. They're just great kind of people. I think the rank and file members who work in the FBI are good folks. But I do think the leadership needs to change, and President Trump's committed to doing that.
Excellent. So fight night, championship wrestler, Got anything on UFC or Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson this
Well,
evening?
I think Bo Nickal's fighting this weekend. You know, he's three-time national champ, Penn
Yes.
State, and I always like the wrestling guys who are having big fights. So Nickal's the guy we kind of follow. With Paul Tyson, who knows? Jake Paul wrestled I think he wrestled. He's like sort of our oldest boy. Yeah, he's from. I think he's the St. Vincent St. Mary guy from if I remember correctly in the Akron area. I think he wrestled one of the Division II quality programs in our great state. So yeah, him and his they're pretty good back in the Ohio wrestling, which as you know is pretty good high school wrestling. So we'll see. But Mike Tyson, man, remember back in his heyday when he would hit someone? Oh my goodness! Like came from the hip. It seemed like. So we'll see who wins that one.
Yeah, we all win because they're all Trump supporters. Bo Nickel is a big-time Trump supporter. He did a video with Trump, right? He did a video supporting Trump. Penn State, Bo Nickel, and Tyson and Paul. They all support Trump. So.
Well, speaking of wrestling, how about when President was at State College, and he calls the wrestling team up on stage, and he's talking about Penn State wrestling's been dominating, and it was so funny because and you know President Trump how he is. He steps back and goes, "Anyone want to say something?" And of course it was Rutherford, who was like another three-time national champ. They all kind of look at him, and he steps up and just knocked it out of the park about go vote, make America great again, God bless. I mean, it's a great little remarks he gave. But that is so President Trump. And I told President Trump, I said, if it's close in Pennsylvania, the wrestling community is going to win it for you because there's such a big wrestling state, and all wrestling people, working class people, they're middle class folks, they're for President Trump. I think it made a difference for McCormick, who, by the way, was a really good high school wrestler and captain of the West Point team. I think it made a difference for him in that close race for Senate.
We posted that. I said if you know, you know.
Yeah.
This wrestling culture will move votes, unlike NFL culture, unlike anything. Like this, I think that was more powerful than going to the Steelers game. To be honest with you, in Pennsylvania.
I think it's true because I campaigned with McCormick. We went to the Lehigh Wrestling Room. We went to Pitt Johnstown Wrestling. We talked to some of the athletes and some of the boosters and all. Did
you throw down? Did you
no,
grapple a little bit? You throw down with the boys?
I'm old, Benny.
Show them what's up, Congressman.
I'm smarter than that, man. You're still young enough to go. I'm not.
Got old man. Got that old man strength. That's right. The young kids don't know.
I'm way past that, but no, I do think there's something there, and in states like Pennsylvania and Iowa, Ohio, where high school wrestling and wrestling's big, I think it can make a difference.
Yeah, and Rocky just endorsed Trump last night, right on stage.
I saw that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Kamala down bad because she did her last event at the Rocky Steps. So talk about an insult to injury. The last Kamala event was at the Rocky Steps, and here is Sylvester Stallone. Champs know a champ. Yeah. Congressman, everybody follow the champ here on X, the most important platform in the world. 5.6 million followers. A lot more followers than we got, Congressman.
No.
We got to say it. One of the best out there. And to be perfectly honest with you, I'm glad you're keeping your gavel. I'm really glad you're sticking around. We need you in Congress. Thank you so very much. Godspeed.
Thanks for all you do. Take care.
Game, respect, game, man. Jim Jordan knows it. Jim Jordan knows how to throw down. He was a championship wrestler, national championship wrestler at Wisconsin. We won't blame him for that. We won't hold it against him. But he's just a great dude. Isn't it great to have, like, champions? Isn't it great to have that in our country? Like, actual people who know how to fight and how to win a fight running this place? It makes you feel good. We're fighting the good fight with you every single day on this program, every single weekday. And, well, through the weekends, to be perfectly honest with you. We just never quit at this program. And you don't either. And so it's like, really is great. It really is great. It really works out. We have our Ask Benny Anything segment of the program. Let's rock and roll. All right, good. We got the timing right there. Okay, here we go. Carol says, are Trump's cabinet picks getting extra security? So this is an interesting question. They don't automatically get security. You get security at the discretion of the president. And so the president can order increased security or less security, although cabinet picks do often get security. But we've interacted with various cabinet picks where they didn't have security, right? They're just walking their dog. So it kind of depends. It kind of depends on the threat level. And those threat levels are assessed inside of Department of Homeland Security. And then at the president's discretion, they can increase or decrease security given the threat level. So that's how that works. This is why it was so criminal what Joe Biden was doing with Trump, because he was literally withholding security, and that it clearly nearly led to Trump losing his life, right? So that's how that works. Thank you for the question, Carol. Could you ask President Trump, how can we pray for you? Well, I got to tell you, God does answer prayers. We played you the RFK clip. I got chills watching it. RFK saying he's prayed for 19 years to solve chronic disease in this country. And lo and behold, he sent me Donald Trump. That's what RFK says. So if we see him tonight at Mar-a-Lago, that's what I'll ask. All right? That's what I'll ask. If we see him tonight at Mar-a-Lago, which he'll be there. So we'll see. Annie Marie Clement says, could you make a t-shirt showing the counties voted for 2024? My husband would like a t-shirt showing which counties moved to the right. The map showing which moved using the red arrows. That's a great idea. We're also doing a Christmas ornament with the United States of America with all the red states in it. So we're gonna do the election map as a Christmas ornament just in time for Christmas. So should be exciting. Yes. And so the answer is yes and yes. Ladies and gentlemen, our verse of the day from Deuteronomy: for the Lord your God is the one who goes with you to fight for you against your enemies and give you victory. You feel that? You feel that? God goes ahead of us. To God be the glory. On our knees, praying that Christ would save us and deliver us from evil, and an answered prayer. It's like RFK. RFK answered prayer. And here we are, living through it. Now it's our job to make sure that we continue the fight and that we don't let our guard down. Hold the side up. Ladies and gentlemen, go save this place. God bless you. It is an honor to march along and fight with you in this, the greatest country on earth. Enjoy your weekend. It's your boy, Benny. See ya.
What a nasty woman. For Peanut.
Surprise, motherfucker. Right. I am carrying extra weight.
Anyone who brings candy into this camp is not your friend.
No, man, that's my thing. No dinner, no lunch, no breakfast.
Looks like my man's packing. Who would like to own up to this treasure trove?
My grandma runs faster than you, and she's only got one leg.
Oh, look. A deli meat.
I eat success for breakfast. With skim milk.
You disgust me. Well, congratulations. You just joined the 76% of Americans who forget to stretch before physical activity.
The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest kings. And a dying legacy, media deal weeds. Soon will the Benny Show come to mind. The salt from lives for fun. Be the gold and bring the gun. We sail for number one. Show come to mind. The salt from lives for fun. Leave the gold and bring the gun. We sail for number one. The biggest ships in the sea, all owned by the oldest king.